Cartooning is so much fun. With some simple tips, you can make your own characters. Let me show you the ones I brought. This is actually of my dog, Rocker. We call him Rocky for short. Here he is as Super Rocky, and you can see we added a mask and a cape. And then, of course, his nemesis, Mr. Cat. And then I have some fish that like to have lots of birthday parties. To get started, you're going to need some really great cartooning materials. We'll start with the paper. There's lots of different cartoon papers available. There's some just like your traditional funny papers where you've got the little squares, and you can do a little story and then make notes on the side, or you can use big comic strip boards like these, or even bigger where you can do some character development and details on these large papers, or even make your own trading cards with these tiny papers. Now, to actually draw with, you're going to need some nice mechanical pencils, permanent pens, brush coloring pens, and we're ready to get started. So the first thing you're going to do is basically, when you look at your pet or animal or whatever you want to draw, you want to simplify the shape. And all that means is, if you look at my face, you might see an oval. So we're going to start with something like that, except we're going to draw my dog Rocky. So Rocky's head's pretty round, and you're going to just start by kind of lightly drawing on the paper. You don't want to push down really hard because we're not really sure that we're definitely secure with our lines. So we've got our head. Now Rocky has a little bit of a snout, and his snout is kind of pointed because he's got a little bit of Chihuahua in him, and he's got a little round nose on the top. Now this is a cartoon, so does it have to be exactly like Rocky? No, it doesn't. It's supposed to be fun and quirky. We'll go ahead and add his collar, and that's just a little strip. But the next thing we need is his body. He has got a really long body, so I'm going to go with an oval like that. This looks like he ate a little bit too much for dinner. We'll give him a little plump belly. Now for his legs, he's got his hind legs, and he's sitting down. So I'm going to draw kind of a oval that tapers at the bottom. And then on this side, you can't see so much of his leg, but it's still there. And we're going to add it like that. And then he's got some paws that look like tiny circles. And don't forget his curly little tail that has lots of fur on it, so it's nice and fluffy. When you're done, you're going to end up with something like this. And you can kind of look over your whole piece and really decide, yes, I want these lines, or no, I don't. Erase any lines that you don't want. And just brush them away. You can even use a paintbrush to brush them away, but we don't need that line in there. And you would just continue until you have something like this. Now for the fun part, is adding lots of color. We're using these really neat pens that have kind of more of a paintbrush into them versus a really firm tip. So you can get nice brushy effects. And because I want this to get a little bit lighter around the back, I'm actually going to use a little bit of pink for the back side of his collar. And you can overlap your colors. Do you see how that kind of blends right in so that you get a nice little shaded effect and gives it a little bit of depth? Let's look at this finished one over here on his collar. We need some pink for his ears. We can use that same pink, and I'm making his ears a little bit darker, but I love these brushy tips because I feel like I'm painting. You can leave it scribbly, or you can color it solid. And before I forget, I have to say, it takes a lot of practice when you're first starting out drawing. So don't worry if you make a few mistakes. I actually took classes on drawing in college, and I still have to practice. So you would just go ahead and continue outlining all of your shapes that you've colored in. And since Rocky is white, I'm not going to color his fur. Now I am going to color in this little R. because that's his initial. And you're gonna find patterns. You can find patterns for this Rocky cartoon online. And you can make him plain like he looks when he wakes up, or you can draw super Rocky like he looks when he goes for a walk. And remember, when you first start drawing, just look for those simple shapes in your pet, like a round head, triangles for the ears, and little circles for the paws. And really, it's all about practicing. If you're uncomfortable with getting started on your own pet, we'll have lots of patterns on the website for how to draw a cat and a dog, giving you ideas, and you can just start with those and go from there.